Hello everyone, this is Cindy here. Most property buyers spend time comparing location, layouts, prices, facilities, and so on. But very few actually spend time studying the developer behind the project. But here's the interesting part. The company behind the project can sometimes matter just as much as the project itself. Because the developer often plays a huge role in construction quality, project delivery, maintenance standard, and even how a project performs over time. So today, we are trying something different. Instead of reviewing a project, we are looking at the company behind the project. And for our first episode, we are talking about Exsim. A company behind Miller Square, Scarlet Suite, Twin Arts, The Rains, and even more. But here's what many people don't know. Exsim wasn't originally even a property developer. They started in the timber business and they are not listed on Bursa Malaysia. Yet somehow became one of Malaysia's most recognizable private developer. And if you're wondering why this matters, by the end of this video, you will understand why some developers continue growing across different property cycles while others slowly disappear. Because behind every successful developer is usually a series of decisions that most people never see. Let's find out. Many people don't know this. Exim wasn't originally a property company. The founders came from a timber business. In fact, if history play out differently, Exim today might still be selling timber instead of developing condominiums. But then came the 2008 global financial crisis. And this would become the turning point that changed everything. Back in 2008, the global financial crisis created uncertainty across many industries. Most businesses were becoming cautious and many investors were putting on hold. But the Lim brothers saw something different. They saw opportunity where land prices became more attractive, assets became available. And instead of staying in the timber industry, they decided to enter property development. Looking back today, this was probably one of the most important decisions in Exim's history. Because without that decision, Exim might never have become the company we know today. One thing you will notice throughout Exim's story is this. Some of their biggest decisions were made when others were becoming more cautious. In 2008, while many people were worried about the future, Exim saw the opportunity. And interestingly, this wouldn't be the last time they positioned themselves ahead of the market. Today, when people think about Exim, they think about high-rise development. But that's not how the story started. Before building luxury residences and city development, Exim started with industrial projects. Projects like Novel Industrial Park, Novel Kemuning Industrial Park, Novel Industrial Park 2. These projects may not be famous today, but they were extremely important because they allowed Exim to gain experiences in land acquisition, construction, project management, and most importantly, delivering projects successfully. Here's actually a lesson many investors can learn. Before chasing billion ringgit opportunities, you first need to build your foundation. But industrial development were only the beginning. The real turning point came when Exim entered the residential market. Because this was the project that would eventually put the Exim name on the map. What is next then? After proving themselves through industrial developments, Exim moved into residential projects. And many people would agree that one of the projects that helped out Exim on the map was the trees at Bukit Jalil. Looking back today, the trees was more than just another condominium project. It was the beginning of a philosophy that many people would later associate with the Exim brand, such as greenery, lifestyle facilities, landscaping, and sustainable concepts. These are the things that were not necessarily the industry main focus at the time. But years later, This would become some of the most recognizable features across many Exsim developments, and over time, this became one of Exsim's signature. So what exactly helped Exsim grow so quickly? Personally, I think there are 3 reasons. Number 1, strategic location. Instead of building huge townships, Exsim focused on location where demand already existed. Areas with infrastructure, population growth, and areas where people actually wanted to live. Number 2, lifestyle-driven developments. Many developers build facilities, but Exsim often puts a strong element on the landscaping, lobby arrival experience, and common areas. Number 3, green concepts before they became trendy. Long before ESG became a buzzword, Exsim was already promoting sustainable and green living concepts across many of their projects. Now, just a personal observation from my side. I've realized after years in property industry, bringing buyers and tenants to countless property visiting, people often remember how a project makes them feel. The arrival experience, landscaping, the common areas, and the overall environment. Surprisingly, these are areas where many Exsim projects tend to stand out. Sometimes even when I see other agents bring tenants or buyers to view Exsim property, the impression starts even before entering the actual unit. Compared to some neighboring developments, many Exsim projects tend to create a stronger first impression and often give higher rental rate benchmark too. Of course, location and entry price still matter. But from a tenant attraction and viewing experience perspective, I do think this is one area where Exsim has done very well. As Exsim continued growing, bigger projects started appearing. Projects such as Kingswood, Queenswood, Causeway Square, Central Park Damansara, and many more. What started as a relatively small developer gradually became a major force within the Malaysian property market. And today, many investors immediately recognize the Exsim brand. When people look at a completed project, they see the building, but they rarely think about what happens behind the scene. As developers became larger, they require larger sources of funding. This is where Exim's Sukuk programs become interesting. Now, don't worry, we won't get too technical. The simple version is this. Large-scale developments require large-scale funding, and one way developers obtain that funding is through Sukuk programs. In 2020, Exsim established Ringgit Malaysia 3 billion worth of Sukuk facilities. This was an important milestone because it reflected growing confidence from financial institutions and investors in the company's future plan. And that's one of the reasons why many people see Exsim today as very different from the smaller company it once was. This is where the story becomes even more interesting. Because Exim is no longer focusing purely on property development. In recent years, the founders have started expanding into hospitality and corporate acquisition. One of the most significant moves happened when the Lim family acquired control of Pan Malaysia Holding. The company was later renamed Exsim Hospitality Berhad. This move is interesting because hospitality creates a very different business model compared to property development. Instead of relying purely on property sales, hospitality businesses can potentially generate recurring income over long term. Now, how does this potentially benefit property owners and investors like you? From an investor perspective, this could be an interesting direction to watch because many investors today don't necessarily want to manage tenants themselves. They don't want to handle inquiries, check-in, maintenance issue, or day-to-day operations. Instead, many prefer a more hands-off investment experience. So if Exsim continues expanding its hospitality and property management ecosystem, it could potentially create additional services that help property owners enjoy a more hassle-free ownership experience. At the same time, the founders have also been active in acquiring stakes in listed companies, which raises an interesting question. Is Exsim still just a property developer, or is it slowly evolving into a broader business group? When I look at Exim's story, I don't just see a property developer. I see a company that repeatedly positioned itself for the next chapter of growth. From timber to industrial developments to residential projects to billion ringgit developments, and now potentially into hospitality and other businesses. Whether you are investing in property, running a business, or building a career, there's probably one lesson we can all learn from this journey. The biggest opportunities are often not obvious at the beginning. And perhaps that's exactly what Exim saw back in 2008. The question today is no longer who is Exim. The more interesting question is, what opportunity is Exim seeing today that the rest of us haven't noticed yet? And since this is the first episode of our developer story series, which developer would you like us to cover next? Pavilion, E&O, Sunway, Sime Darby, SP Setia, or even more? Let me know in the comment section below. See you on my next video. Bye bye.